Most restaurant owners know the basics of how to manage their restaurant. And maybe this sounds like you. You know how to hire staff and train them properly. You know how to build a schedule. You know how to place orders. You know how to run weekly payroll. You know how to do things. But if your restaurant requires you to be doing the things in order to succeed, you might start seeing cracks at some point along the way. Maybe you start thinking, oh, the way you've been taught doesn't work. Maybe it's broken, but it's not broken. It's just not working anymore. It's not, right? The things that got you here will not get you there. As you continue to grow, as you, God help you, if you continue to scale, expand into multiple locations, you're going to have to find a new way to do things. So let's talk about the old way of managing. Let's talk about why that might not be working anymore. Let's talk about what you need to replace, and let's talk about what you need to replace them with. That's what this video is all about. How do you properly manage a growing restaurant business? If you don't know me, my name is Chip Close. I'm the founder and CEO of Restaurant Strategy. It's an organization I founded almost a decade ago to help independent restaurant owners increase the profitability of their restaurants. So I host the podcast, the Restaurant Strategy Podcast. I wrote books. I give talks. I host something called the P3 Mastermind. It's a group coaching program where we work side by side with hundreds of restaurant owners to help them dial in profits, meaning help them make more and work less. If any of that sounds interesting, all the links are below. You can check out my book. You can check out the different programs I run. We can certainly connect. I also put out videos here. If you don't subscribe yet, make sure to go down, hit the button, subscribe, hit the bell so you'll be notified every time new videos come out. I try to keep these really laser focused, sharp, short, tight, so they give you the answers you need. If you have a growing, expanding, scaling restaurant business, you inevitably you'll come to the point where you start feeling the cracks, where the things you knew how to do, the things you were taught, no longer work. So let me just be really clear. Most restaurant owners didn't go to restaurant ownership school. They didn't learn how to be a great leader, a great manager, how to oversee tons of people. They just learned it by doing it. They learned by who they saw, who they happened to work under, right? We learned it from some guy who learned it from some guy who learned it from some guy who learned it from some guy. And while most of that still works and is helpful, there's a lot of things that don't work, right? Because if you're learning from a guy who only ever had a single restaurant, then applying his rules and his structures to a 5-unit restaurant group isn't going to work. Likewise, if you're learning from somebody who, runs a restaurant chain or group of 20, 30, 40, 100 units, then you and your 3 units, right, don't have a lot to learn. The systems that work for a single unit aren't going to work for 3, 4, 5, 6 units. The systems that work for 100 units are not going to work for 3, 4, 5, 6 units. So if you are here, if this sounds like you, the systems that you've set up really require you to be there and sort of crack and fracture as you step away, then that's exactly what we're going to talk about. Number one, what are the systems that need to be retired, and what are the systems that you need to replace them with? Specifically, that's what we're going to get into. Now, if you are doing stuff, right? If you were doing all the stuff, meaning you're placing the orders, you're doing inventory, you're building schedules, you're running payroll, then that's the first thing that needs to go. I always tell my restaurant owners, right? Here's the first thing you're going to take action on today. Break out 2 lists. On one list, here's the stuff either you love to do or you absolutely need to do. And then on the other list, here's all of the things I currently am doing, but I could delegate them out. Now, a lot of this stuff might seem impossible to delegate out, but I promise you, if you can build an SOP, meaning if we can build a set of directions that someone can follow, then we can teach someone those set of directions. They can follow them. It's just like my son when he builds Legos. The folks at Lego come up with a set and send a big book of instructions, and as long as he follows the instructions, he will build the thing that is pictured on the front of the box. It's the same thing with you. So can you teach someone how to take inventory? Absolutely. Can you teach someone how to place weekly orders? Absolutely. Can you teach someone how to use a declining budget, how to forecast business, how to set budgets? Can you teach people how to run payroll? The answer is yes, 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 yes. Ultimately, right, we're going to get to this at the end, but I'll preview it here. Ultimately, we're going to give you a new set of jobs. You as the owner, we have to get you out of the business, right? Not working in the business, but working on the business. And it's a fun little bumper sticker. We say it all the time. It's hollow at this point, because really what you care about is, yeah, that's great. I'd love to work on the business instead of in the business, but how do we do it? That's what we're going to do it. The key is oversight and support. putting the systems into place, teaching people what they need to do, when they need to do them, how they need to do it, make sure they understand why it needs to be done, and then setting deadlines and setting checkpoints, oversight, right? So you check in at the end of every day, or you check in on a weekly manager meeting, or you check in because they submit reports at the end of the week, right? That's oversight. You tell them what to do, when to do it, how you want it done, and why it's important that it gets done in the way that you showed them when you need it done. And then you check in on them. You put those checkpoints in. So you provide oversight. And then really, the real value of your job is to provide support. I need you to do X, Y, and Z. And if at any point any of that's confusing, if you need help, then I'm here to support you in that. A big part of giving people responsibility is also giving them the authority to make decisions. So tell me if this sounds like you as well. You are getting called 40 times a day. Everybody's sort of pulling, tapping you on the shoulder. Hey, can I get you for a second? Hey, can I get you for a second? Hey, quick question. Hey, what should I do about this? Hey, table 12, blah, 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 right? Everybody's tapping you on the shoulder, pulling you on your shirt, asking you, right? And this is what we call a firefighter in chief. You are putting out fires left and right. Hey, this happened. What should I do about it? Hey, I don't know what to do here. Hey, where's this thing? Where do I find it? Hey, the pipe burst. Who do I call? All of that, you can be proactive. You just have to be cognizant of the fact that proactivity is part of your job. So you have to anticipate that a pipe might burst, that a fuse might blow. So you need to build a binder. You need to build a list. When we have electrical problems, this is who you call. If the problem can be fixed for under $1,000, I authorize you up to $1,000 to fix the problem. Anything over $1,000, yes, you call me, and I have to give you approval, or whatever that threshold is. If it's 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, if it's 400, whatever the number is. When this happens, then this is what you do. It's algorithmic thinking. If this, then that. That's an algorithm. If this happens, then this is what we do about it. If you build a series of algorithms, right? A series of, if this happens, then this is what you do about it. Again, you can teach all of that. Does this happen overnight? Certainly doesn't. But you can build these slowly over the course of a month or two. You can have your team build all of these over a month or two. And literally 60 days from now, you could have a totally different restaurant. It begins with these two pieces of paper. What's the stuff you love to do or you cannot imagine never doing again, right? The things that you need to be doing. And then on the other piece of paper, it's what's the stuff that could be delegated if we put a system in place to teach people what they needed to do, when they needed to do it, how it needed to be done, and why it's important that it's done in that way. Once we do that, we basically put together a series of SOPs. SOPs can live in a binder. They can live in a Google Drive. You can feed that into a custom GPT. You can do this a bunch of different ways, but you have to think algorithmically. If this, then that. If this happens, then that happens. That is the thing that will save your life. That is the thing that will get you from where you are to where I know you want to be. If people keep calling you, if you get texts at all hours, if people keep tapping you on the shoulder and asking you all this, it's simply because you haven't given up enough responsibility and you haven't given people the authority to do what you need them to do. It's one of the most important management principles out there. Here's the secret. This is how you properly manage your team below you, but then you're going to teach this to your managers. This is how they manage the line level employees below them. So this is how a general manager manages the floor managers, or how an executive chef manages the sous chefs. This is how sous chefs manage the line cooks. This is how your floor managers manage the waiters and the bussers and the runners and the barista. You're teaching everybody to have some autonomy in their day-to-day. Now, does this require relinquishing control, giving up control? Yes. Does it mean that people will make mistakes? Yes, they will. They will make the wrong decisions, but you are providing oversight. So you're reviewing their decision-making every so often. You're coming back and saying, okay, so what happened this week? Well, this happened and I did this about it. This happened and I did this about it. This problem arose and this is how I solved it. And then you say, great, I love what you did there. Yep, you followed the book exactly. Yep, you followed my instructions. Okay, on this one decision, I see why you made the choice you did, but next time I would have done this. I think this would have been more productive, right? Then you coach after the fact. So you teach them everything you can possibly teach them. You give them some line, right? You give some slack to the line so that they can make decisions on their own. You give them some autonomy. You empower them to take control. If they got responsibility, they also have the authority to do things, and then you review it with them. What happens then is you start floating up out of the business. Every decision doesn't need to be made by you. You are giving them the authority to make decisions up until a certain threshold. And then you are reviewing those decisions on a consistent basis. Even if that's once a week or once a month, you can do it. It can be once a day for a while. You can have a heavy hand on your management for a while until they get the hang of things. But that's how you do it. Now, what happens if you don't do it? What happens when you open a second location and you get stretched thin? Well, then you have twice as many people that are texting you, calling you, tapping you on the shoulder. It is impossible. And the first place, right? You get the first place in a great position. This thing is humming. It's clicking on all cylinders. Now I'm going to go open the other place. You go to open the other place and things start to fail because they were leaning on you so consistently. They needed you there and it just wasn't obvious. It is obvious now that you're at the new place across town. Before you go to the new place, you got to make sure the first place is in place. I always say that restaurant owners, before they expand, have to take a 90-day sabbatical. 90 days where you do not step foot in the existing location because you have to replicate, right? You have to replicate the situation, the environment that is going to exist when you do eventually open that second place. So if the place burns down, literally goes on fire, you can go in there, but then you know that the second place is not time to open it yet, right? That it's too soon. You have to be able to step out of your restaurant, the first place, for 90 days and have it run, right? It's still busy, it's profitable, there's no high turnover, everything's still working. Once you see that happen, then you can make moves to open a second, a third, a fourth. Every time you do that, that's how you do it. Now, there's a huge jump from 1 to 2 locations. Huge jump from like 3 to 6 locations. And then the next big jump is like 10. After that, it gets pretty easy because you'll have layers of leadership. You will have the CFO. You will have regional managers in place or directors of operation. You will have a corporate chef who's overseeing. You will have people between you at the head of the pyramid and the unit level leadership below you. There will be people whose job it is to oversee it. But right now, you're trying to float up and you're going to be acting like the regional manager, acting as the director of operations who's overseeing operations at a whole bunch of different places. The biggest thing you need to do is come up with those 2 lists. And then little by little, you delegate all of those tasks and you free yourself up. By the end of this, like 60 days, let's say, it's going to feel like you don't do anything. And you're going to have guilt. You're going to be like, man, my team's like crushing it. They're running around and I'm not doing anything. And maybe for a lot of you, you stop there and be like, man, this is great. I have so little to do. I've got tons of free time I can dedicate towards other pursuits. Fine. Other businesses, hobbies, whatever. Or you take all that free time and you use that to open another location or to franchise or to open up another arm of the business. Once you free up your time, you can figure out how to fill your time. That is proper management, is putting the systems in place, the proper oversight, and the room for you to provide support. If it feels like what you're doing isn't working anymore, it's because it's not. Because it worked for you at a point, but it will not work for you anymore. The things that got you here will not get you there. Proper management is about oversight and support. It's detailing everything you do, right? Cody Sanchez always talks about the 3x3. If you do a task 3 times or more in a month, and there are 3 or more steps required, it needs an SOP. So teach that to your teams. If you do something 3 times or more in a month and it takes 3 steps or more, then we need an SOP, meaning what needs to happen, when does it need to happen, how should it happen, why is it important that it happens in the way that we've outlined, and teach it to everybody who needs to be responsible for it. Restaurant management, right? And if you were never taught this, restaurant management is really about teaching and empowering people and stepping back and giving them the authority to make decisions on the things that you're asking them to be responsible for. Again, my name is Chip Close. I'm the founder and CEO of Restaurant Strategy. I put out videos every single week. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe. hit the bell so you'll be notified when new videos come out. If you ever have any questions about me, if you're curious to learn more about the P3 Mastermind, we talk about all of this every single week, and we really get in there and help you implement it into your business. If you want more guidance, more hand-holding, if you want to be a part of an incredible community, that's what that thing's all about. Grab time on the calendar. You'll chat with me or someone from my team, and we'll see if you're a good fit. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much. Go crush it.